Up next, here are books for young people. Hello. And feature film awards. And present those, we have a 3-time Christopher Award-winning author whose books never fail. I mean, never fail to make readers' spirits soar. Do you know that I have that book on my desk when I'm on the air? Yeah, I have some books on my desk. It's a little homey, and your book is right on top there, and I look at you every day, and you make me smile. She is really special. Joanne Bauer is a New York Times best-selling author of 13 young adult books. She is also a playwright, a screenwriter, and also an in-demand public speaker. Currently, Joan is part of the songwriting team for a new musical called Girlhood that is being developed in Chicago, one of my favorite cities. She is also completing a novel for older readers, or grown-ups as we call them, in the young people's literature world. Please welcome a very special guest. She's got a great personality. She's going to make you laugh. Joanne Bauer, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a hug. All yours.
Thank you. Oh, it's so good to be here. Ernie, you always get my energy up. You just plain do. And before I tell you who the winners are and we commence with that, I want to tell you a story. And Ernie, in keeping with your desire for this to be classy, I want to tell you, in style, I want to tell you a story about when I was locked in a middle school bathroom. And actually, I locked myself in. I'm not particularly proud of this, but I was about to speak to hundreds of children, and I really wasn't quite feeling up to it. Or in educational speak, I was going to be an assembly. And I heard from within myself this voice saying, you need to have a trick. You need to have something to kind of connect with the kids. And I didn't really have it that day. And I went quickly through my memory of all of the assemblies that I went through as a young person, trying to find some glimpse of something, some nugget, that I could use to really reach these kids. And the only thing I could think of was when I was in high school. And there was a man who came and was in assembly. And I swear to you in front of you, that this man was a professional whistler. Yes, just let that sink in for a moment. And this man stood on the stage unafraid, solo, and he whistled the entire William Tell overture. And all of us in my high school, and there were a lot of people in my high school, were stunned to silence. And I was in the third row. And when he got to the really fancy part, da 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 la la la, and he was whistling, and the spit was flying out of his mouth. And I sort of thought, gee, if I put my geometry book up, it can kind of be a shield to me. But then I realized I don't have a trick like that. And then I heard the sound of the principal on the loudspeaker. And principal's voices always make you feel guilty whether you did something wrong or not. And her voice went across the school, and she said, I want everyone to begin to move into the auditorium to hear Mrs. Bauer. She's going to tell us about her books. And she said, and I will take this opportunity now to warn you all. If any of you responds to Mrs. Bauer the way you did last month's speaker, I'm telling you now, there will be trouble. Well, there wasn't a double lock on the bathroom door, unfortunately, because if there was, I would have just let that thing go. And then there was a knock on the door, and it was the librarian who said, are you ready to go? And I thought, well, but I opened the door and I said, listen, what happened to last month's speaker? Picture this guy in traction. She rolled her eyes. And next to her was a young man, a lovely young man named Robert. And Robert had one job to do that day, and that was to take my purse and my coat to a safe place in the library. And as he did that and he went off, the librarian whispered to me, and she said, we're so proud of Robert because he was having issues with stealing. With shoplifting. He was arrested a few times, but we really feel that he's getting over it. And I remember Jean Kerr's mighty words, and she said, when you, I actually wrote it down. She said, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, it's just possible that you haven't grasped the situation. So we went out into the hall. And the kids they just came from left and right. And I felt that energy, Ernie. I felt that energy that you were talking about. And a young man came up to me and he said, oh, it's you, right? You're you. I said, yeah, I am me, I think I'm me. And another girl said, oh, Mrs. Bauer, she said, I read your book. I loved your book. I read it all through math. I read it all through algebra. I read it all through English. I went, okay, this is great. Now I'm really feeling it. Another boy came up to me and he said, I read your book up to page 123 when my cat threw up. And there was nothing really left to say. Someone else said, you know that bad dad in your book? Mrs. Bauer, that's my dad. I'm not kidding. And then another girl came up and just gave me a hug and she said, I wish you were my mother. Oh, well. George Carlin said, I'm every age that I ever was. And that day, oh boy, did I remember that. And I pulled up my inner sixth grader and I had myself a time. I really did. I don't think that it's possible to create any kind of work of art, whether it be a book or a TV show or a film or dance or a painting, without somehow yanking up this amazing ageless awe that we've all been given. Because when we can find that, we tap in to the power, of the arts in profound ways. And kids are so helpful to remind us to not get so serious. And may we never forget that. To be childlike in this world, not childish, there's a really big difference. But to be childlike, I think, is a special key that opens the door to so many hearts. And we are all about heart tonight at this ceremony. So I congratulate all of the winners. Thank you. And now, the important part. Books for Young Readers for Preschool and Up, Through Your Eyes, by Ainsley Earhart, illustrated by Jai Hyuk Kim, published by Aladdin Books, Simon & Schuster, Children's Publishing. Spotting a dog, smelling a tulip, and dancing in the rain puddles, watching her daughter's wonder and glee at experiencing these things for the first time leaves a young mother with a new perspective on life. Inspired by Ainsley Earhart's own daughter, this insightful tale reminds parents to slow down, take small steps, make each moment last. The world is a blur if you're spinning too fast. In the end, both moms and dads will discover that looking at the world through their child's eyes make everything seem brand new every day. Author Ainsley Earhart couldn't be with us tonight, but she sent word that she appreciates the high honor of receiving the Christopher Award, so accepting on her behalf is her editor at Aladdin Books, Karen Nagel. For Kindergarten and Up, Pocketful of Colors by Amy Guglielmo and Jacqueline Torville, illustrated by Bridget Berenger, published by Athenaeum Books for Young Readers, Simon & Schuster, Children's Publishing. In the eyes of an animator, illustrator, and designer, Mary Blair, the world was a palette of vibrant and joyful colors. One of the first women ever hired by Walt Disney Studios in 1940, her depictions of flying magenta horses and twinkling emerald skies weren't always embraced by her male colleagues. But Walt Disney himself treasured Mary's talent and vision, hiring her to design the It's a Small World ride in 1964. Pocketful of Colors highlights Mary's trailblazing career and serves as an inspiration to any child with dreams that require defying the odds. we're pleased to have with us Amy Guglielmo, Jacqueline Torval, and illustrator Bridget Berriger. Congratulations. Before She Was Harriet, this is for ages 6 and up, by Lisa Kline. Ransom, illustrated by James E. Ransom, published by Holiday House Publishing. Many of us know Harriet Tubman as a hero of the Underground Railroad, but this powerful and poetic tribute explores the many selfless callings she followed throughout her life. An outspoken suffragist and abolitionist, Tubman also served as a nurse, caring for those hit with bullets and hatred, a Union spy carrying secrets across battlefields, and a guide for freedom-seeking slaves, led by dreams and God and faith. Book ended with images of a freed Tubman as an old woman before she was Harriet, brings history to life and celebrates this role model's legacy of bravery and determination. We are pleased to have with us author Lisa Kline Ransom and illustrator James E. Ransom. Congratulations. For ages 8 and up, Genevieve's War by Patricia Reilly Giff, published by Holiday House Publishing. Genevieve is a 13-year-old American girl visiting her grandmother in Alsace, France. But their quiet farm life is shattered when the Nazis take over their town and eventually their home. The teen encounters book burning, starvation, questions of trust and betrayal, and the dangerous call to play a part in the resistance. Along the way, she also develops character, courage, and a newfound respect for her grandmother, with whom she'd had a contentious relationship. Genevieve soon realizes the truth of some advice she often received from her aunt: doing the right thing will make you happy. Whoops, hold on. It really will. I can attest to that. Author Pat Giff had planned to be here tonight, but had to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. She is one of the great people, I would like to say. She wishes she could be here, but accepting on her behalf, we're pleased to have her editor, who was also my editor, Mary Cash. For ages 10 and up, The Red Bandana by Tom Rinaldi, published by Viking Penguin Young Readers Group. Though Wells Crowther worked in finance, he had the heart of a firefighter. That was never more evident than on September 11th, 2001, as he was doing his job on the 104th floor of the World Trade Center's South Tower. After the plane hit the building, Wells led 18 strangers to safety. They didn't know who he was, just that he wore a red bandana to cover his face against the smoke. Through interviews with survivors and family members, Tom Rinaldi pieces together the heroic final hours of Wells's life, a life that he sacrificed to save as many people as he could. Accepting for author Tom Rinaldi is his editor, Kendra Levin. And for young adults, Crossing the Line by B.B. Belford, published by Sky Pony Press, Skyhorse Publishing. Racial tensions run high in post-World War I Chicago The fifth graders, Billy McDermott, who is white, and Foster Williams, who is black, become best friends anyway. They bond over their love of baseball and the fact that their fathers are veterans emotionally scarred by war. When Billy and Foster cross the invisible color line that divides their community, they trigger a series of events that changes both their lives. This historically based fiction, which takes place during the 1919 Chicago race riots, presents a timeless call to see beyond superficial differences and create opportunities for peace and healing. Bebe Bedford had planned to be here tonight, but her flight from Chicago was canceled. Well, how? That's not right. Who, what? Okay. But anyway, this morning, so accepting on her behalf is her editor, Rachel Stark. And that completes the Books for Young People Awards, and now we move on to feature films.